Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of In Between the Stitches. As always, I am your host, Brady Wilson, with my co-host, Chase Olschwanger.
Good afternoon.
And we have the great Zach Babb in with us today.
Oh, you know what that means, don't you?
That means Houston Astros baseball.
No, it doesn't. That was a year ago today, wasn't it?
It was.
I didn't even. Would it surprise you that I didn't even watch a single pitch of Game 7?
Did you just
When John Singleton struck out with the bases loaded in Game 6, I turned off my TV to not watch baseball until the following April.
Oof.
I think
Even if the Astros won Game 7?
If they had won Game 7, I would have watched the World Series.
Okay.
But I knew they were not going to win Game 7 after that
I think
happened.
we watched a few more innings of baseball after that.
I think so.
Yeah.
Sorry,
no,
Zach.
because I knew as soon as Singleton struck out with the bases loaded, I knew it was over.
You know, I actually think that was a good decision from Baker. Because Singleton had walked bases loaded Game 5.
Yeah.
It creates a psychology of, oh my gosh, I got to get this guy out again. Same everything.
Pretty sure Leclerc also hung one, but he just didn't expect the slider.
Yeah.
It was
a slider up. It was a slider up.
It was a cutter.
Or okay, it wasn't a fastball. I know that.
No,
he
it
was
was
sitting fastball.
It was a cutter.
It was 89 miles per hour.
I think Singleton I think he thought it was going to be way too high, and then he realized it was dropping back in the zone, and he just kind of like a hack.
It was definitely hittable.
He was trying to foul it off.
Yeah.
Anyway. But if Zach Babb isn't with us, we have to make fun of his Astros. We could make fun of his Steelers, but
not after last Sunday, man.
No, but we could because it's the Steelers.
Yeah.
We will, however, not make fun of, but have a party about our 5-2 Dallas Stars.
We shall. Why not?
They have looked great. Obviously, last night was not very fun.
Yeah.
Got on 3-0, but you made a small little comeback there, trying to come back.
Yeah.
Ended
It's
up bringing
also
3-2.
the fact that it's the Sabres. I'm like, come on, guys. This should be an easy 2 points, but whatever.
Well, not just that, but I assume the Sabres like to exact revenge on us whenever they play us.
Yeah, I mean, you'll still hear, you walk around the streets of Buffalo and you'll hear no goal all the time.
Even though it was.
Yeah, we can have a giant rundown about that at some point.
I think it was a goal.
I don't think it was a goal.
Really?
I don't think it was a goal. Under the rules in place on June 19th, 1999, it was not a goal, in my opinion.
Listen, if a Stars fan is telling you it's not a goal, I don't think it's a goal.
Well, because like I've seen this, and I've seen other people say that it is like 100%. They called it correctly.
Yeah, I think that's revisionist history, but that's beside the point. Anyway,
We won the Stanley Cup.
We won the Stanley Cup. We hoisted it. My dad saw the goal, went crazy, saw the replays, and walked back into the kitchen to get more snacks because he thought it was going to get waved off, and then came back from getting snacks to see the Conn Smythe Trophy on the ice. But beside the point. It's been a very fun start. 5-2 and 0, as you said. We haven't lost in shootout or OT yet.
Yeah, the I forget.
It's impressive for the Stars too.
It's very impressive, and the first 3 games of the season, even though the defense got a little lax against Nashville in the opener, you came home and won back-to-back games with 2 different goalies, both via the shutout, which is the first time that has happened in franchise history, which includes the Minnesota era back to 1967. So it was like the goaltending's been great until Casey DeSmith wasn't that great against Washington.
Yeah.
Ottinger has been unreal. I'm sure his goals against average is bubbled up after the Buffalo game last night, but they were showing pregame that it was hovering around a 1.48.
Yeah, crazy.
And I'm like, holy moly, this is good. It's been fun to watch. Fun little first bit of the season.
Speaking of Ottinger, he signed an 8-year extension.
Yeah, that's big. He's locked up through when he's 32, I think, which is about the prime range for a goalie.
Okay.
Wait a second. Do you mean that? I'm sorry, I can't do it without smiling. I can't because it's so absurd.
Are you trying to make a cowboy joke?
Do
right
you
now?
mean that you can extend your young, awesome players without making a spectacle of it?
You can.
Zach, are you telling us right now that you can make it work in the cap to extend your players early?
Yes.
So that way you have money for future.
Indeed, it does.
And it is not advised to re-sign a guy like Ottinger the day of the first game next year.
Yes. And in fact, you know what?
I don't believe you. I don't believe you.
You can actually get him to sign for below market value because he loves your team so much.
Yeah. And because
and
you
the environment
negotiated him.
and the ownership.
And you I didn't know we could do this. Then.
Yeah, it's
I
amazing.
didn't know that you could negotiate with a player behind closed doors.
It was
Just call them and say, "Hey, we want to extend you. We think you want to be here. Let's go ahead and let's get it done right now if we don't worry about it." And I think and you mean to tell me the players camp can go, "Yeah, that sounds really good. Let's do that."
When you look across at the comparable contracts and you look at Jeremy Swayman, one of the best goalies in the league, signed the exact same deal, and you can literally call up your goalie's agent and say, "Hey, I know you love it here. How about you sign for the exact same amount as Jeremy Swayman?" And he says yes. It's amazing.
That's crazy.
What was exactly 8 for
66?
Yeah,
exactly the same.
I didn't know we could do that, Zach.
It's amazing what happens when you have competent ownership
and GM
and great GM-ship. Yeah,
2-time winner of the
two-time defending GM of the year.
Has he won it the last 2 years?
Yeah, last 2 years.
Jeez, I love it.
Literally the only thing missing out of Jim Nill's closet right now is a Stanley Cup.
Anyway,
unfortunately, we'll have to get to the Cowboys later.
Anyway, I'm sorry. I had to make the joke.
That's fine.
You also did exact same revenge over Edmonton, which was
that was fun.
Really nice.
It was really fun.
Proved we were the better team.
They are man. You're talking about a struggling team out of the gate.
But they
Nashville
did that last year.
Nashville Predators notwithstanding. The Edmonton Oilers.
Are they still winless?
I think so. Well, I don't know. I may have to. The whole league played last night, and I haven't looked at the scores yet.
They are 2-4-1.
Oh,
who? Nashville?
Edmonton.
Sorry, we shifted to Nashville.
Nashville's 1-5.
Okay, so they won last night. They finally won their first game last night.
Yeah.
Okay, well there you go.
Winnipeg is 6-0.
Yeah, Winnipeg's off to. It's amazing what happens when you don't have Rick Bowness as your head coach, which is another great joke to make.
Well, he's a good head coach, but I think he just kind of it wasn't working here.
No, yeah, and then he went to Winnipeg and had the same. It wasn't working here problems.
Yeah.
And then he retired, and now the Jets are 6-0. So,
yeah,
maybe it's me. That's
maybe
you gotta ask yourself.
He was a good coach.
Maybe the great defensive coach. Maybe that doesn't really work in 2024 when you came up with your philosophy in 1987.
Yeah.
Mike
McCarthy? Sorry.
Yeah. That's like 3 Cowboys jokes in the span of 5 minutes.
Oh, there's going to be more.
Okay.
It is too easy. But Utah's off to a 4-2-1 start.
Utah
good for
looks
them.
fun. And maybe it's just, I remember Vegas being the same way when they first got their team, and Seattle to a degree, but although Seattle was kind of weird because they showed up right in the aftermath of the pandemic. But
those buildings have been rocking for Utah.
Delta Center looks hype.
They're essentially they are the Coyotes, right?
They are the Coyotes.
Okay.
Legally speaking, no, but yes,
right. But the roster,
the roster is Coyotes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like the NHL did the same thing with the Browns moving to Baltimore.
Right.
It's the same thing.
It's like
the
I was talking to my dad about it.
Inactive.
My dad was like, Utah is good somehow. I was like, well, it's not like a Vegas situation. Like Vegas was literally an expansion team, and they just happened to.
Yeah.
Well, they made the Stanley Cup that year, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Did they win it?
No,
they lost.
No,
right?
they lost to the Capitals.
But I was telling my dad, like this is like the Coyotes. It's just
It's the Coyotes. It's the Coyotes with a couple big free agent signings this offseason.
Right.
Interesting.
So
they added to their team.
They added a couple guys because also their owner isn't a cheapskate anymore. In Utah, so he's not trying to make everything work in a 5,000 seat arena. It's amazing what happens.
So we kind of blame the NHL and the people in Arizona, not the owner.
No, we blame the owner, the former owner of the Coyotes. He sold it to a ownership group in Utah who moved the team to Utah. So, Alex Marudo was the former owner of the Coyotes, and he was basically told to get lost.
Any team name in the future?
No, they've trademarked like 17 different names.
What would you do? I think the Utah Yetis would be mine.
Yetis is pretty good.
Because I think it's ice.
What about like
that was one of the ones that they trademarked. They also trademarked Utah Ice.
That's terrible.
I kind of like that.
It's terrible.
I hate that.
It's terrible.
Take me out behind the Delta Center and shoot the owner in the leg. If that happens.
We're Ice fans. We're Ice fans. But
it's like, what would you call like what other sport would you name the playing surface your team name though?
It's
like here's this new NFL team, the Dallas Field.
Yeah.
Or the Dallas Grass.
The Dallas. No. You've got the Houston AstroTurf. There you go.
Houston AstroTurf. Yeah, there you go.
I came up with the Mountaineers.
Mountaineers is there.
No, but to be fair, AstroTurf was because of the Astros.
Yeah, it was because of the Astrodome.
If it was the other way around, then
that would be hilarious.
It'd be somewhat similar.
It'd be hilarious.
But because
But yeah, no, they have like 17 different names trademarked. Ice is one, Yeti's one, Mountaineers is another.
I actually had no idea. I just literally thought about it.
Yeah. I think the Utah Yetis, it's a nice sounding team. The branding would be really cool.
I think the mascot and everything would be pretty cool. There's a lot you could do with that. Yeah.
By the way, really quick side story. Do you know what Tug McGraw said? Ironically, the father of Tim McGraw, who pitched for the Phillies. Right? Tug McGraw, they asked him what he thought of AstroTurf. And he said, "I don't know. I've never smoked the stuff." I just think it's great.
That's great.
It's an all-time quote there.
Yeah, Utah Blizzard is in there.
Okay.
I like the Blizzard. I think going with a winter theme is the right move, or like a snow. But like
the only winter themes they have is Ice, Blizzard, and Yetis.
Utah Ice would be terrible.
But you got to think about what you want to do for branding and merchandise and stuff like that.
Terrible.
Right. Oh, they also have the Mammoth. I guess that's technically
Utah
ice related.
Mammoths?
Yeah.
That's not bad.
Utah
Mammoth. That would be cool. I feel like you have to go with. How about the Utah? No, you can't because the Predators. I was gonna say the Utah Sabertooths.
No, yeah, the Predators probably have something to say about that.
I was gonna say the Sabres, but then I went, wait a second, that's Buffalo.
That's already
and
here.
then also Nashville's the Predators, and there's the thing.
They're already kind of clashing a little bit.
They got some ideas worth working with.
In non-winter related names, you also have the Venom and the Fury.
Venom would
and
be
the
cool.
Outlaws.
Outlaws, no, because Utah. When I think Utah, I think Mormons.
Yes.
Not outlaws.
I would make a joke right now, but I don't want this podcast to come back and haunt me in 10 years. So I will abstain.
Seeing as how you're technically our producer, you can say whatever you want. No, I would say I would say that the Yeti or the Mammoths. Is it the Mammoth or the Mammoths?
Mammoth. The plural of mammoth is mammoth.
So the Utah Mammoth. The market, I think an animal would be really cool. I think the ice, I think the Blizzard is fine. I think the ice is terrible. Imagine you've got one. All right, we're gonna expand the NBA. It's gonna be called the Baltimore Hardwood. You know, that's
the Seattle Court.
The Seattle Court. that's the Harlem 3-point line. That's what we're gonna start calling a team now.
There you go.
Yeah,
man, that was a tangent.
That was fun.
Yeah, back to the stars.
Back to the stars. Yeah.
What else would you like to know? We're supposed to be covering.
They have looked great.
Yeah. They've looked spectacular.
Defense looks fine.
Yeah.
Dumba has,
I don't know if it's
I can't say Labushkin, but
you said it correctly.
Okay, Labushkin.
You bring up with Dumba a good point. He hasn't played but 2 full games this year.
Yeah,
Buffalo and the opener against Nashville. So
coincidence?
He played for 1 period in the shutout, the opening night shutout, before he got injured. So part of me is like, okay, does his return make things a little better? That's the defense is going to be the biggest question mark on this team throughout the entirety of the year. But I'm kind of with you, Brady. I'm like, it's fine. It's serviceable
Our
right now.
Our offense is going to be off the charts.
Now, is it enough to win a Stanley Cup? I think you're going to need some sort of upgrade.
So I assume you have to think they're going to add.
And but this is the thing. I almost think they add in the way they added to the offense at the deadline last year, which is not adding at all. It's a minor league call-up.
Bixel.
I think in January, February, March, we get Bixel up in the NHL, and that's our acquisition, quotes.
When's the trade deadline?
First week of March.
All right, let's say you call up Bixel halfway through January. You get a month and a half of him in here. Mm-hmm. And let's say that he plays well, do you still think they may go, if they get a chance at a Tanev type trade, where they give up virtually nothing, for a guy like Chris Tanev, do you think they'd pull a trigger? I mean, Jim Nill has shown he's willing to.
I think if the opportunity presents itself 100%, I mean, Jim Nill will make that move.
He'll always call.
As long as it doesn't sacrifice his first round
number
pick.
4.
Unlike some GMs, when a good player is available, he checks in on him.
Derrick Henry.
I'm like Derrick Henry. Trades, waivers, something.
Anything. Okay. Remember that Derrick Henry's offseason home is Dallas.
Henry most importantly, because he lives here. He loves Dallas. He wanted to be a Cowboy, and Jerry Damon.
The Cowboys references will probably be here through the podcast.
That's fine.
Through the year.
Yes.
In terms of, you mean other, because I said this last week, the other 3 teams have competent owners.
Yeah.
Mavs, we haven't really seen much yet, but we'll see. The new ones.
Well, I mean.
And then, but all 3 have fantastic general managers.
Yeah.
And then there's one. That doesn't call or check in or like, hey, how do you do?
Yeah.
But anyway, I think Jim Nill would, because I don't think, because we were talking about, I remember last year, I'll probably find the episode where we're sitting here talking about the trade deadline, and I think we all 3 agreed they're probably not going to add because salary. What are they going? Jim Nill doesn't like them. He moved a first-round pick once, and it was for
a former first-round pick.
Oh, I'm forgetting his name.
And Nils Lundqvist.
Yeah,
because Nils Lundqvist was a first-round pick the prior year, and so he moved a first-round pick to get a first-round.
Terrible, but
no, he's looked
great.
better.
He's looked better this year.
Yeah, he's looked better this year.
But if you could revert that, would you?
Probably.
But then you have Tanev, because we were like, well, they're probably not going to do anything. They may add a small guy or something just to pad the.
And then you end up
line.
maybe with who was the best defensive defenseman in the entire playoffs last year.
And then it was. I remember texting Zach. Zach, is this because he's behind? Zach, is this good? It's everyone's saying that we fleeced him. Is this?
Yeah.
He's like, didn't expect that.
Yeah. So we'll see, but it wouldn't shock me if again Jim Nill will always take a phone call.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't shock me if we just do the Bixel call up and call it a day.
Has he? When does the AHL start?
It just started this past weekend. So
how do you measure defensemen in terms of like? Is there like a stat? You can get. Are they nerdy stats or?
Yeah, you can get buried into NHL analytics to.
I love it.
To show defensive stats for players. The thing with Bixel, what he's going to have to get used to is the smaller ranks.
Mm-hmm. Because that's what the AHL's for.
Because he played in the SHL and played very high level hockey in the SHL, but they use the international ranks, so it's bigger. That's probably just the amount of real estate he has to operate with is probably going to be his biggest learning curve.
Is some of it eye test? Is a lot of it eye test?
A lot of it
just
is
going.
Eye test.
Especially
for defensemen. It's
I watch
eye test.
like we can watch and go, wow. There were times where Tanev was saving Ottinger's butt.
Yeah, but none of that shows up in the stat sheet.
No, it doesn't, unless it's a deflection.
Yeah, a block shot or something like that. Him just tracking down someone in the corner and taking the puck away from them. I mean, takeaways, I guess, but even stuff that's disrupting a play really doesn't show up in the stat sheet.
Right.
So how will we tell if Bixel's ready? Just watch highlights?
Yeah, watch enough get your Flow Hockey AHL TV subscription and start watching.
Speaking of which, I like the Victory Plus. I have to say,
I do like
it. It's
love
free.
It. Yeah.
It's easy. It has had no bugs yet, knock on wood. And we've gotten rid of Valley. So
yes,
which is nice.
The Mavs have Mavs TV now.
Yeah.
So
Rangers are working on their own thing.
I'm still trying to figure out. And I'll talk more about it when we get to the Mavs segment. But trying to figure out where to kind of go.
I'm curious what the Rangers are going to do. If I was the Rangers, just join Victory Plus.
Yeah,
it works.
The Ducks are on Victory Plus. It's not like it's exclusive to.
So do we get the Ducks as well just because of it?
No, you have to be in Orange County.
That would be really cool if we just like randomly get all the Ducks games because like a lot of the local like Fubos and all that they have AT&T Sportsnet, so I get all the
watch
games.
all the
which I took advantage of.
Yeah,
when we're
that's the only downside, if you want to call it that, with the free to stream is it uses your location. So you have to be within what was traditionally the footprint of Valley Sports Southwest to be able to watch their games. Otherwise, it blacks it out. But
that's fine because if you live out of market, you can just buy the subscription and you get all the out of market games, and therefore you get your team.
Yeah.
Life is all right with the world. But Stars are playing well. It's too early to start. I mean, I have the standings up just to look at other teams.
Yeah.
Because it's too early to really look at standings. This is like, the first week of baseball season. Oh, look, the A's are in first place. That's happened before.
There's your A's joke of the podcast.
Do I have an A's joke every podcast? I guess.
No.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
So, no, I'll get one in. No, it's my John Fisher.
There you go.
I hate John Fisher's the one I hate.
There you go.
Hey, when I don't hate too many people, but when I do it well.
There you go.
when I have
mostly consisting of sports owners.
I'm the whitest person ever. I'm going to say this. When I have an op, I take it very seriously. Yeah. I think that the Stars are playing well.
Yeah.
And hopefully they keep this up throughout the rest of the year.
Yep.
So is there anything else that we've missed?
Not really. This early in the season, it's
how's Labushkin look? Because I've heard good things.
He's also pretty serviceable.
Because I heard our defenseman haul was kind of thought it was underwhelming by a lot of the online fans.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't want to do that. I do it for the Rangers fans.
Yeah.
But I think so far that it has been maybe better than we hoped.
I think so.
But I also think we were really lowering our expectations.
I think the standards were the expectations were extremely low coming into this. So I think it's like if I had to grade it, I'd say the defense so far this season, I'd say B+, but when we were all expecting an F-, B+ looks really, really good.
Well,
so
and two things I think can help you. First of all, having a happy, paid Otter
yes,
in between the pipes.
Yeah. And
DeSmith seems to be an upgrade over Wedgwood.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
So if you have to lean on your goalies, at least we have a really great goalie tandem.
Yeah.
That you can lean on if the defense is just kind of So
right, far Zach, so good. 7 games in. A lot of hockey.
We'll have you back on here for sure in the future.
Oh yeah,
sure. Yep,
100%.
We appreciate it.
No problem.
There goes Zach Babb, the voice of the Mean Green, to talk some Dallas Stars with us and go on some fun little sports tangents. Well, Chase, we're going to get to your number one sport of choice because finally we can no longer go, oh, there's nothing going on, because there is something going on.
Yes.
In about 24 hours, we'll be pre-gaming for the Dallas Mavericks game.
Yeah, the NBA has officially tipped off last night between the Celtics and the Knicks and the Timberwolves and the Lakers.
So it was just the 2 games last night.
Yeah, just 2 games. Okay. And then good amount of games tonight.
A warm-up.
Yeah, two national television games with the TNT squad the final year.
Dude, it's sad.
Of inside the NBA.
It's what we grew up on. I wonder if they're going to go wherever.
I don't know. I know Barkley's probably gone, but I mean, Shaq, Kenny, and Ernie could go somewhere, just not on TNT. So
who's picking up the rights?
What is it? I know it. It's I can't put I'm gonna have to look this up because else I'm gonna be pinching myself to figure it out. Who is taking over TNT? But anyways,
I can't believe they paid AEW. Sorry, I don't want to go on a wrestling thing here, but I can't believe they paid the crap at AEW, and they didn't want to pay for the basketball.
Warner Brothers.
Well, Warner Brothers owns TNT.
It's Warner Brothers is taking over the TNT and rebranding it into TNT Sports. Well, no, it's.
Sorry for the.
Yeah, we're just trying to figure this out.
Anyway,
I know it. I just forget.
The Mavs play tomorrow.
Yes,
and we are all very excited for the Mavs game. Obviously, this team definitely looks a lot better. Amazon.
Yeah.
It looks a lot better. Someone did a side-by-side from 2 years ago.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And I think it was Luka, Dinwiddie, Dodo.
It was Reggie Bullock and JaVale McGee.
Bullock, and then we had to sit through the freaking JaVale McGee era there. Yeah. And now you've replaced him with Luka, but now you have Kyrie in for Dinwiddie. You have Clay.
Even though Dinwiddie's back on the roster.
Yeah, he's a backup.
Right.
You've got Clay, you've got PJ, and you've got Lively. I mean, who has it better than us?
It's an incredible transformation of the roster, but
and PJ seems to this team is so much fun.
It's got everything you need. You just got to stay healthy and see what happens.
Yeah. It's fun. I can't stress that enough.
Yeah.
And then you had guys like Najee Marshall. You had guys like Quentin Grimes, which we didn't extend him, which is interesting.
No, but
we did extend Hardy.
It did extend Hardy 3 years, $18 million, which is great. Get it done. Grimes will be done if he plays well. I mean, I'm sure that's what he and Nico, and if Cuban was even involved, if that's what they talked about. I mean, listen, you go out there, you prove yourself. Well, guess what? We'll bring you right back. It's simple as that. You're playing for a contract, and that's motivation. You play well, you get your contract. Simple as that. But yes, the NBA did tip off yesterday with those two games that I said. The Celtics winning in dominant fashion over the Knicks on their ring night. Unfortunately, they had a ring night, but they won in dominant fashion, which is they look just as dominant as they did last year. And the Lakers, not winning in dominant fashion over the Timberwolves, but in commanding fashion. They won by 10, but they were winning the entire game by 20. And Timberwolves kind of cut it back, made it a little closer, and then the Lakers ended up just pulling away. Speaking of the Lakers game, though, history happened. I feel like we have to talk about it. When
you have to. It is significant.
it is history. No matter how you look at it, no matter if you like it, no matter if you don't like it, it is history. LeBron was out. Obviously LeBron started and it came out, and the second rotation came in. He subbed in with Bronny, and it is the first time ever in the history of the sport where a father and son have played on the same court together, and it's just remarkable.
Really cool.
Yeah,
it speaks to the longevity of LeBron.
It's ridiculous.
It speaks to the fact that Bronny has worked hard to get here. It is just, there is a very easy criticism. And I don't want to cut. People know I'm a Jordan guy. I'm a Jordan guy. I like LeBron as a player. He's the best player I've ever seen with my own two eyes. But the person frustrates me. And so it's hard to not hate on him because he does things that piss me off. And one of them is take away a roster spot from somebody that is more deserving and give it to his son just because he's his son. Nobody would know who Bronny James is if he wasn't LeBron's kid.
The last name helps when you see James on the back of your shirt.
And the fact that his name is Bronny.
It helps.
I mean, if his name was Leroy, maybe, but his name is really Bronny. I think LeBron had some aspirations there.
Listen, and I'll give Bronny his credit where it is due. Obviously, I don't think he should be on an NBA roster.
At best, he should be the backup in G League.
But I will give him his credit. He is a good defender. He is a good defender. And he can compete in the NBA with his defense.
He could be a 3-and-D guard.
He had, I believe, in his final preseason game, he had 17 points, so he showed signs of being able to score the ball. And even though it's preseason, you're still playing against teams, people, and players who are fighting for an NBA roster spot, or lower on an NBA roster spot. There's signs of competitiveness. And that's sometimes that's what you need with an end of the bench guy. Guys like Dwight Powell. He's a good presence to the team, and you know what? That might be something that Bronny is. He's just a good guy to have on your bench.
I don't want to argue that he's not a good player. It is just that he would never have gotten the shot if it had been for his dad.
Of course.
I hope he succeeds. I hope this is a great story.
Yeah, of course.
Obviously, I will always be partial to the Griffies, just because I don't think there's really a sports equivalent for going back to back in terms of home. They could both score a bucket back to back. They could win a game. Winning a championship, duh. Obviously that'd be pretty special. But in terms of in-game achievement, I don't know if there's a really good equivalent other than dad quarterback, son receiver, something touchdown.
No, there was close. LeBron did pass to Bronny for a 3, but he missed it. So there was a chance for LeBron to get an assist to his son.
So you'll get some by assist, but the back-to-back home run will always be the coolest.
That is pretty special.
And I love if you ever hear him talk about it. Griffey Sr. will be like, well, mine went farther. And Griffey's and Junior's is like, well, his went farther, but mine got out faster. It was they squabble about whose was better.
I also have 700 more home runs than you.
Yeah. 500 and something counting.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was a great moment.
Yeah.
Really cool to see that. And I think it's gonna be a running storyline, especially since Lakers are good.
Yeah,
they're not.
They're a 6 seed is a ceiling.
They're a 5-6 seed.
That's a ceiling.
Maybe they win a playoff series. Maybe they don't. Any team that employs LeBron and AD is going to be successful.
Right.
At least 40 to 45 wins minimum.
Right. And it is, again, especially for that Lakers team, it comes down to health. Your two best players are guys that, LeBron's not injury prone, but he's just 40 years old, and then Anthony Davis,
is injury prone.
He was healthy last year, which is good, and you see how dominant he was when he's on the floor for 70-plus games.
But he is injury prone.
So he's on the floor. He's one of the best players in the world. And Lakers can do something with that.
I'm going to hold you to this. Now, I didn't do a full record prediction just because I don't do it for basketball or hockey. But let's go ahead and do a quick finals thing. I'll let you go first.
Sure.
If you'd like me to go first, I'll go. But
listen, my bias pick, and it's not being just not 100%.
You can do a homer one and a real one.
But it's also not. I think if the Mavericks do stay healthy, they have everything they need to get right back. I'm not saying they're going to win it. I think that they and the Oklahoma City Thunder are the two contenders in the West to have a realistic shot. There's a lot of teams with a realistic shot, but the two teams I think that have the best shot at making the NBA Finals is the Dallas Mavericks and the Oklahoma City Thunder. And I'm going to take the Mavs, of course, not only because they're my team, but they made it last year, and they improved the roster where they needed to improve. And the guys who are younger have another year of experience. And there's only guys that are going to get better. And I think that this team is 100% capable of making it back to the finals. In the East, it's going to be the Celtics again. I think it's going to be a finals rematch. Okay. I really do. I really think it's going to be a finals rematch.
And that's your real bracket?
Yes.
I will give one. I want to say this. I will give one with the Mavs. I would probably pick the Mavs as my pick. But because I want to remove any bias, I will still pick another team.
Right.
Just to guarantee myself
my other bias, because I don't want something that's happening with the Rangers.
Who would be your non-Mavs?
I don't want something that's happening with the Rangers, because when I think my prediction was like the Rangers versus the Giants in the World Series, because I love what the Giants did in the offseason, but that obviously backfired. Rangers backfired. I don't want that happening.
Who would you pick other than the Mavs?
Thunder.
I think I'm going to go a little bit different. I think I'm going to say... I don't want to pick them. I can't pick them. They didn't get better. I am not going to pick the Thunder, and I'm actually not going to pick the Mavs. I think I'm going to pick the Nuggets.
Okay. It's safe. I do think they got worse in the offseason.
Versus the Celtics.
Safe.
But I'm going to say my real prediction is, same as you, finals rematch, Mavs-Celtics. Now, if the Celtics get hurt, Celtics fall off.
Right, this is all just right now.
I could see the Knicks being in there. Is probably the biggest threat. I could see the Pacers. I could see the Sixers. I could see the Bucks. The Cavs, maybe. I mean, you've got a lot of teams that could threaten them.
There's talent.
One of those, if all of the teams banded together, you could beat them. But the problem is they're all in little pockets of like, well, this team has one star and a few good players, and this team has two stars with like no other good players. And
we'll see with the Mavs. This Mavs roster obviously looks great right now. This is what you expect to be the final roster towards, in the playoffs or whatever.
Unless you had somebody.
But, listen, there's a chance if somebody's underperforming, or if you end of the pieces of the bench and then you just throw in some draft picks and go in for someone for sure. I mean, there's a possibility at that. I mean,
we're trading for Giannis, confirmed.
Right. No, I mean, seriously, this roster is great, but this also might not be the final roster. You never know. If the Mavs really are in serious contention and they think that they do not have enough to compete with, whether it's the Thunder or if you make it to the finals, if you don't have what you think you have to compete versus the Celtics, I mean, you're going to have to do something.
I have to say, it is really nice. By the way, I was kind of sad we didn't do our annual re-sign Seth Curry. It is really nice to finally be able to talk about the Mavs in this way, because for the last several years it's been, well, you've got Luka, so you'll be at least 500,
right? And
then pray to God above that you can win a few more games and maybe make a little playoff run,
right?
But it was never anything serious,
right?
Because you could never, not only could you not give him a co-star, you couldn't give him a supporting cast of any kind.
Yeah.
That was good, decent, right? Tim Hardaway Jr. was kind of a, here, take this contract, please, and turned out to probably be the best player in the Porzingis deal, unironically.
Unfortunately.
And so, very unfortunately.
Yeah.
Thankfully, we didn't give up a ton.
No.
Picks.
No.
And Dennis Smith Jr.
Yeah.
And DeAndre Jordan, which had a really had the weirdest Mavs career ever, and also non-career ever. For those of you that know, you know.
Yeah.
I think it's nice to be able to go, man, the Mavs have not having to smoke the hopium about Reggie Bullock.
Right.
Or JaVale, thinking, man, JaVale McGee is going to be our answer at the 5. Finally, it's like, man, not only do we have Luka, but we added a second star. We added, I will not call Clay a star anymore, but we added a really solid supporting cast headlined by Clay and Lively.
It could be an all-star. All-star is a ceiling.
And Lively,
right.
And PJ and Gafford, and even getting a like Dinwiddie back, Hardy. You lose a guy like Grimes, Marshall, even though you lose a guy like Josh Green.
He upgraded.
Kind of sucks.
Yeah.
He played hard.
Listen, it was Hardaway, Josh Green, and who am I forgetting? Hardaway, Josh Green, and Derek Jones Jr., who departed in the offseason.
Yeah. Which hurt.
That one hurt.
I love Dwight.
But you upgraded. Each one of those you upgraded. Derek Jones Jr. turned into Najee Marshall. Quinn and Grimes, or Josh Green turned into Quinn and Grimes. Upgrade. And then Hardaway turned into Clay. Obvious upgrade.
Or you could almost just say he turned into Dinwiddie, and then Clay was just a surplus.
Yeah. I mean, listen, what the Mavs did
was great.
Was exactly everything.
What smart teams do, Frisco.
It's crazy because when Clay came out and said that he didn't want to come back to Golden State, immediately everybody says like, "Oh my God, he'd be such a good fit here in Dallas." I mean, we talk about with the Cowboys all the time. When Henry was out, oh my God, we don't have a running game. Henry would be perfect, and you get your hopes up.
You were a full tilt cheerleader for the Clay to Dallas thing,
and I called Gafford as well before it happened. But you have hope, with the teams that actually care.
Yeah.
Outside of the Cowboys and the Dallas Metroplex, that you like when Clay was announced, I was like, oh my God, there's a pretty good shot we get Clay. And with the Cowboys, oh yeah, I mean, listen, Cooper Kupp might get traded, and yeah, he'd be a great fit here in Dallas. But guess what? I'm not optimistic because it's just not going to happen. But to wrap things up, yes, Mavericks, they're back. They play tomorrow, 6:30 on TNT versus the Spurs. I'm excited. And I think that's the key word there. I'm excited. We'll see what happens.
We're all very excited. We'll see. Yeah, it starts tomorrow.
It starts tomorrow.
We've got 82 games to go.
And we will, cover, I believe they have 3 games before our next episode. So
we'll have a
hopefully
very tiny sample size.
Hopefully 2-1 at the worst.
Who are we playing?
Spurs.
Win.
Tomorrow. Oh, win. I think you said win. Hopefully win. I mean, listen, the Spurs have talent, but
win.
You hope win. At Phoenix.
Win. Don't even win.
A lot of talent there. I mean, you can't just say win that confidently when you have a team of Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, and Kevin Durant.
Oh, yeah, Devin Booker. Wow. Oh, I'm scared. No.
But yes, hopefully.
Maybe he'll trash talk us when down 20.
And then home versus the Jazz.
I'm going to go say 3-0.
Hopefully 3-0, 2-1 at the worst. If you lose one, have it be the one in Phoenix.
There's only so many combinations in there.
Right. 2-1 at the worst.
Worst case scenario is 0-3.
Yes.
That would be like panic mode. Trade everybody. Clay doesn't work here. Trade him. It'll be a lot of fun to watch, I think, tomorrow.
And everybody's good to go. Luka is 100% healthy.
It's probably a
the calf contusion is literally just a bruise.
You know what it was? He landed and went, ooh, my calf.
And he definitely could have played in the preseason if he needed to.
He doesn't need to, though.
But you always like to get your guys some reps. I mean,
I agree, but you don't have to play in 4 quarters or something.
Right. No, of course not. Nobody did. But Kyrie,
5 minutes.
Kyrie and Clay, they played 2 games together and they played a half. And they played a full game total.
Clay and Kyrie is gonna be really fun. I assume that's your 5.
What?
You're starting 5. Those 3 are going to be in there.
Oh yeah, Luka, Kyrie, Clay, PJ, Lively. That's and unless Gafford, that's the only thing that we don't know yet if it's going to be Lively or Gafford. Because if you've seen some highlights of the practice clips,
Lively's been scoring more.
Gafford is practicing with the starting lineup.
Could be concealing though.
So I maybe. So I mean, I would personally start Lively, but again, when you have 2 really good centers, I mean, it really doesn't matter where you go with.
We went from, oh my God, our centers are Maxi Kleber and Dwight Powell to, holy crap, we've got Derek Lively and Daniel Gafford. Yeah. Life is wonderful.
Right.
Anyway.
But yes, Mavs tomorrow.
Now we got to get to.
Go Mavs.
Go Mavs. We got to get to baseball. World Series. Yes. I feel like both CSs kind of into the, I'll say anticlimactic, but kind of you were heading for legendary series and then just kind of both teams that lost kind of went out with a whimper.
Yeah, I mean, it was also 2 teams
now,
where...
Soto's home run was, I mean, I was watching it and,
he hit the one the exact same, the day before as well. It's the exact same pitch. They
solved the one thing that Cleveland had that was their strength, and that was their bullpen. And because they were able to solve Clase and Gaddis.
Oh, gosh.
And I could go on a tangent.
I forgive you, John Daniels.
I could go on a tangent about why they're failing. And it is because relievers are not meant to be seen that many times. When you see a reliever 100 times, what happened in 2016 when Joe Madden overused Aroldis Chapman? He got hit. They figured him out. It's throwing a 100-mile-an-hour cutter is cool, but if they've seen the cutter 100 times, they're going to figure out how to hit it. They're major league hitters for a reason. And I think that the one thing you're seeing in this playoffs that I don't want to see continue and I want to see end is this, well, we're just going to bullpen every game. How did the Rangers win last year, Chase?
Starting pitching.
You had Evaldi Montgomery and you felt really good. Then it was Well, the first 2 series, you didn't really need your third starter.
Right.
Heaney was actually pretty darn good in his game 1 start in the LDS because you won. That was a tight ball game. But then you have Monty go game 2, kind of got shelled, but your offense scored like 10 runs. You're fine. And then Evo shoved in game 3.
Yeah.
And you get to the ALCS. We were thinking, let's get to the ALCS and we'll have at least Scherzer and then whoever comes out of the bullpen, right? And then that's what happens. And then when we get to the World Series, now we have John Gray back.
And he was fantastic
And
out of the pen.
John Gray was my underrated World Series MVP.
Mm-hmm.
Was we don't win the 2 of those games, we don't win without him coming in clutch for us. So you have to have starting pitching. You gotta have a horse that can go. The only reason Scherzer wasn't going 5 or 6 was because he was coming up an injury. And I guarantee you he wanted to go 5 or 6, but Bochy was like, no, we need to save you for next year, which didn't go very well. But we won, who cares? But you look at even the Yankees are trying to bullpen games. Our starter's going to go 4 innings.
Well, they're not pitching Luis Gil. They're rookie.
It's frustrating, Chase.
I don't know if he's built for the moment, I guess.
The Dodgers have an excuse. They have none. They're trying to piece together pitching because of injuries. The Yankees have Garrett Cole. They have guys like
Rodon.
Rodon. They have guys like Luis Gil.
Rodon, yes, sir.
These guys can go 5-6 innings if they're pitching well. Okay, if they're getting shelled, get them out of the game. But it was one thing the Mets did that I liked. Their starters would stay in the game. Mendoza wouldn't just go, oh, he's pitched, he's through 4. Let's go ahead and pull him. Because then that means you got to get that so many more outs with your bullpen, and you got to save them. The Rangers was, let's try to get to the 6th, right? At least get through 6 with our starter, and then you've got Chapman, Spores, Leclerc. You're good to go. But if I need to get my starter out in the 6th, I can bring in Spores. He can get those outs, and then the next 3, and then Chapman comes in the 8th, and then Leclerc. Bochy would piece together his bullpen. He did it well. He played his bullpen off of his starters. Right now, they're playing the starters off of the bullpen.
Yeah.
And it's not working. Surprise, surprise, surprise.
Well, it's working because they're in the World Series.
It's working because they have significantly better teams.
Right. I mean, yeah.
Both offenses are giving them
the
chance to do this.
This will be the test then, because now you're head to head.
My theory is, we'll see my theory. It is you have to have your starters go more than 3-4 innings unless they're getting shelled if you're going to want to have a chance to win this thing, because they're seeing your relievers. They're getting a book on him. They're realizing, hey, maybe he's tipping his pitches. A lot more pitchers tip than people think. Maybe he's tipping something. Maybe he's a situation that he likes. That's how Gibson beat Eckersley, 3-2 backdoor slider. He knows it's coming. He read the scouting report. You get a book on these guys, and when you get in the playoffs, that book you study that thing, and you realize maybe how you can beat a guy. And it's how a guy like Clase can give up like 3 earned runs all year, and then gets just absolutely demolished in the playoffs. They figured something out. It happens. And when you try to use your bullpen too cute, something that I always got on Dave Roberts about, quit trying to bullpen games together. Use your starter, use your horse, and then play the bullpen off of him. But
so I got to ask you,
who's
Dodgers or Yankees?
If the Yankees utilize their starting pitching well, Yankees. If they utilize starting pitching the way they should, Yankees.
One of Shohei Ohtani and Aaron Judge. Obviously, you got Soto in there as well, but one of them is going to get their first ring, and it's going to be cool.
If they try to bullpen games, the Dodgers have as good a bullpen as the Yankees do. If the Yankees play to their strength, if we actually have starters that have been pitching well, I think they got a better shot at it. You got 2 managers that are highly scrutinized too. I've always been a fan of Aaron Boone. Roberts sometimes gets on my nerves in the playoffs, but.
This is
both lineups are carried by the stars.
This is the matchup that everyone wanted, and it actually happened. You have all these predictions like obviously before the season started,
Royals, Mets, or something crazy.
You have all these predictions, Dodgers, Yankees, and that's just the 2 best teams. That never works out well. That never is the World Series matchup, right? That's never what it is. See, especially in baseball. I
still think the Phillies are a better team. I will always go. I'll go to my grave thinking they're the best team in the league this year. They've got the pitching. They've got the start. They've got 3 3 great starters and then a 4th pretty darn good one. They've got a great bullpen. They got great hitting. They ran into a freaking butt. Their hitting went cold. The bats went cold at the worst possible time for them. I'm
taking the Dodgers, by the way.
I will say I'm hoping to go 6 or 7 because that way I can go to my dad's house and watch 6 or 7 with him. I do not want this to go 4 or 5 because then it'll be boring and I don't get to go watch it with him. But I don't care who wins because whoever wins, they're both high payroll teams. They've both somewhat paid for these really good teams. If you look at the 3 best hitters on each team, Chase, at least the Yankees developed Judge.
But they didn't pay for Soto.
Yeah, but Soto is still a superstar. It's the same with Betts. Dodgers didn't pay Betts. They extended him, but they didn't buy Betts as a free agent, but they traded for him. They went out and they went out.
That's what you're supposed to do as contenders. You trade for these guys.
It's true. But then you got Freeman and Stanton.
Right.
But
I'm not with that. I'm not with that. I know obviously the Dodgers when it comes to Freddie from Atlanta and Shohei obviously.
I am not as bad as some people when it comes to maligning teams for spending money. If these smaller teams don't like it, spend more money.
Listen, we just did it. We just paid $550 million for Corey Seager and Marcus Semien, and guess what? It worked.
I'm not arguing that you shouldn't spend money. What I am arguing is that the Dodgers, their 3 best players, none of them were developed internally. None of them. It took no effort to get them. Everyone in the league would have wanted them on their team, right? At least with the Yankees, when we developed Judge, people would have given up on Stanton long ago. And someone like Soto,
you're going to extend, but you
had a really rough time in San Diego. Some teams may have wanted to go away from him. They may have not wanted the deal with the extension and all of that. So and then Garrett Cole was bought. I'm just saying there shouldn't be any shame in buying a championship.
No,
because you still have to play 162. You still have to navigate injuries.
Not to mention the Mets have the highest payroll.
You still have to pitch. You still have to get those contributions. So I don't want to say, well, both these teams bought. I am not like some people who we know that that want to say, well, baseball needs a salary cap because this is ridiculous. And do you know the last time the Dodgers were in legitimate, but in a 162 World Series? Well, not last time they won. They won. Let me say, not was in because obviously they were in.
What was the exact year? I know 20, but
88. Haven't won a 162 season.
And you know Dodgers fans want to win this so bad, so people can stop talking about 2020.
Yankees haven't been to a World Series in 15 years. So this narrative that, you teams got to buy a championship. No. Dodgers got cheated in 17, may have got cheated in 18, but I just think they fell flat. Won it in 20, and people still discredit them for it. I don't. I think they still earned it. But they won a legitimate 162. We went the distance. And I'm very interested to see how the series goes.
I'm excited.
Yep. Well, it is now that time to talk some football. As usual, we will recap games as we talk about the new ones. I did get Chase. We just agreed on one game, and I took the Packers, took Texans. I got him on that one. So Brady finally won a week. Yay! We're very happy about that here.
I live with it. I live with a 1-point loss.
No teams are on bye this week. You got a full slate of Week 8 games, which is great. We're going to start with the Vikings at the Rams. Vikings coming off a really tough loss against the Lions. The Rams, I can't remember what they did. I think
they beat the Raiders.
They beat the Raiders. Both Cooper Kupp may be back.
Puka might be back.
But Puka, I think, is out.
He's questionable.
I think he's out for the game.
But Thursday, if it was a Sunday game,
Higbee may not be back for the. Higbee's probably not going to play. You've got trouble on the offensive line. The Vikings have Vikings have Brian Flores. Give me the Vikings.
Listen, we're talking about all this stuff, and we're all going with the Vikings.
Look, I'm just trying to tap into my journalistic ability to set the stage for the game.
Give me the Vikings.
Eagles at Bengals. Actually, I was able to watch some tape on both these teams, so I feel like my opinion is a little more well-informed. But no offense, Chase. Eagles have a great defensive line that I think is going to give the Browns running game problems.
Bengals.
But are you going Bengals?
Well, no. You said Browns running. No, you said
Bengals.
You said Browns Yeah.
Eagles, Bengals, whatever. Yeah. It's the B, and they have similar color schemes, and they're actually on the same. They're one line below each other.
And they played the Browns last week.
Eagles, Bengals. I think they're going to give the Bengals some problems in the run game. But I really
they have
think
the Giants. Sorry.
But the Eagles have had some problems at left tackle because Mailata's on IR, and that new guy is not very good. And the Bengals have two really solid defensive ends in Hubbard and I can't remember the guy's name. For Hendrickson. Yeah. That can both come off that edge. So give me the Bengals.
This is a tough one. I mean, it was the Browns who played the Bengals last week, so that's probably why you were getting confused.
Yeah.
This is a tough one because if you look at the narrative of the Bengals season so far, and you look at the numbers that Joe Burrow has put up
and down,
and he's got unbelievable numbers so far, but that defense has just been so poor.
It's been inconsistent. They flashed. You see it on tape. They flash, but there were several times where Watson could have broke a big play, and because he just sucks, he didn't.
Yeah, and then you look at the Eagles' offense with all that firepower that with Hurts and Barkley and Brown and Smith.
Smith's hurt though. Does he have the concussion?
He's good. He played last week. He didn't do anything last week, but he played. But you still got him, and it's a lot of firepower in both offenses, and it's like which defense is going to come up? It's which defense is going to step up, right?
I thought that was a different number. That was Smith. I was saying I couldn't remember. I couldn't figure out who that guy was.
I'm going to take the Bengals just because I want the Eagles to lose.
All right. Ravens, Browns. Yeah, the Browns look rough. Give me the Ravens.
Ravens.
On the stage for this one. Titans, Lions. Lions.
Don't need to go into much explanation for some of these games.
Colts, Texans. Richardson looks rough. Just bad decisions. Indecisive. Texans look very up and down this year, but give me Houston.
It's in Houston, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I was going to go to Houston anyway, but yeah. I mean, I think Jonathan Taylor, who's been out the last 3 weeks, has a chance of being back. So that helps. Texans.
Pack versus the Jaguars. I like Tank Bigsby.
Packers.
Jags have shown some promise, but give me the Pack. Cardinals at Dolphins. Tua may be back.
Do we want to give a little caveat here if Tua is back, Dolphins? Because I know we have another one.
I'm going to institute a rule.
Only one.
You get one caveat a week.
Then give me the Dolphins. I'm rolling. I'm rolling with Tua being back.
I am going to pick the Cardinals, even if Tua's back. I'm sorry, the man. I don't know if he knows the plays right now. The concussions are just. I don't know how he's going to play. I don't know how McDaniel's going to call the game if he does. In regards, give me the Cardinals. So there is our first disagreement.
Okay.
Jets at Patriots. If Bill Belichick was the coach, even with this team, give me the Patriots because Bill doesn't lose to the Jets. But Gerard Mayo has been an absolute dumpster fire in New England, where Bill is literally because Mayo was like, "Yeah, our players are kind of soft," and Bill went, "No, they're not. You're just basically a bad coach."
Yeah.
So give me the Jets.
Jets.
Be a great game to get Devontae and Wilson on the same page and figure all that out. Falcons at Bucks. I don't know why Godwin was in the game.
Yeah, I mean, listen, down 10, there's a chance,
but you played him, and now he's out for the year.
And Evans is out for till week 12.
So I think we're both going Falcons here. Yeah. The Falcons look rough against Seattle. They just had a lot of miscues. I watched that game too. They had false starts and holdings and blah blah blah. And by the way, Grady Jarrett's still a really fun player.
Yeah. Unfortunate for the Bucs because I mean, in that division as well, it could have been theirs. It still can, but unfortunate.
Bills Seahawks. Seahawks looked better. I am ultimately going to make my decision based on one thing, but I'm going to let you go first this time.
Bills.
I'm picking Bills because I just don't think that interior is going to hold up against James Cook and Ray Davis. Panthers at Broncos.
The quarterback that runs too.
Panthers at Broncos. Yay! Oh, wait, no, I skipped 2 games here. Hold on. That's why I messed up because I'd already put us down.
Well, we'll talk about Panthers Broncos since you said it.
Panthers at Broncos.
Broncos.
Yeah, even Bryce Young being back, I don't care. Saints at Chargers. You give me the Chargers.
Yeah, I mean,
Saints have not looked good.
Yeah, with Carr out, I gotta go Chargers.
No, you should take Rattler.
I gotta go Chargers.
No, take the Saints.
I gotta go Chargers.
We already did the Bears Commanders. Basically, we're both picking Bears, but if Jaden Daniels plays, we're taking Commanders.
Yes.
So there's a little caveat there. We've got Chiefs at Raiders. Chiefs. I don't think that's very difficult. Cowboys at Niners. I want everyone to hear me when I say this. I will never root for my team to lose. I want us to go 17-0 the entire year. I want us to go 14-3 the rest of the way. I hope Mike McCarthy turns into freaking Andy Reid and he becomes an offensive genius. And I hope Mike Zimmer turns into Bill Belichick and he becomes a defensive genius. And I hope we get healthy and we play well and hope we win out and win the Super Bowl. But I do not expect us to win many games. And I am picking the 49ers.
I'm never going to take the Cowboys to beat the 49ers, especially in San Francisco. I mean, you gotta prove it to me. But the Niners are dealing with. I mean, we're dealing with stuff too, right? But the Niners, they don't look good. Neither do the Cowboys. Again, I'm saying this because the Cowboys don't look good either.
They don't look good.
The Niners don't look good.
They don't look good. We look bad. There's a difference.
Right. The McCaffrey's still out. Debo's questionable. Ayuk is out for the season. There's just a lot of pieces missing, but I'm still going to take the 49ers. You got to show me that you can beat them.
Yep. And then Giants at Steelers. I want to give a shout out to Josh Azudu, the left tackle for the Giants. He's terrible. He can't punch. He has terrible hand technique. I know there's a word there I'm thinking of. I just can't think of it. Hand placement.
Okay.
It's terrible. He can't punch. He just kind of plays patty cake with him. And Nolan Smith absolutely demolished him a couple times for a sack. He is terrible. So give me TJ Watt on that left side to have like 8 sacks in this game. So give me the Steelers. So there we go. We have one disagreement again this week. Hopefully, please, Cardinals. I need to keep gaining these games on Chase here. So that's going to do it for us, and we will see you guys next week.
Have a great day.